Hello, welcome to my review of Maharanih by Parfums De Nicolai. Another niche brand review. I haven't done a review for quite a while actually, so thought I'd better do one before I get out of the loop and lose my will. I'm joking, I never lose my will. But yeah, this is my first ever fragrance by them that I've ever smelled, or I should say her, it's one lady. According to CIVET, I've just been reading a little bit. They've got 46 fragrances. It's weird that not weird, but I've never heard of them before, so I don't know what they're about really. It's kind of a new venture for me, but this lady, Nicolai or someone or other, she's actually a descendant of the Carnation family, so that's a good one to have on your resume, isn't it? Your CV. You're actually related to one of the most greatest perfumers on this earth. She actually had a big hand, or I think she possibly even created the famous Lancôme perfume called Trésor, which happens to be one of my mum's favourites, which I think is really nice. Yeah, I'm not sure of the year that this came out actually, so I can't really comment on that, but they've been going since 1989 I think, so I don't know, this has a slight classic feel, so I'm guessing it's towards that side rather than new. So yeah, I will go through the notes with you. It's not got the most crazy amount of notes, but the top notes are orange and blood orange. Don't really hear of blood orange in fragrances very much, but it's a huge player in this. Then the heart notes are cinnamon, carnation and rose, and then the base is sandalwood, patchouli and civet. So before I go into it, because it's drying a little bit on this hand, I kind of looked up, it's called Maharanih or Maharanih, and it comes from the word Maharaja, which is an Indian word for royalty. So this is, I'm guessing, based, or the thought behind it comes from kings, queens, some sort of Hindu royalty. Not really sure why they've chosen what they've chosen for those reasons. Yeah, sandalwood, kind of Indian I guess, cinnamon, spicy, not really sure, but anyway, so yeah, I'll spray it on this hand. I had it on this hand already, but I'm going to spray it again because I need to let it kind of zhuzh up again. This has got, like I said, dun dun dun, civet in it. Civet, it's controversial note. Thankfully this is synthetic civet, and a civet was a very controversial note because it comes from an animal, and the way they used to get it was not very humane. But thankfully, due to good scientists and great perfumers, they found a way to recreate civet, and they've created Civetone, which smells the same. Civet is a huge animalic, kind of dirty smelling note, which on its own is rather foul, but when it's done in the right way and in the right amount, as in things like Shalimar by Guerlain, that's got civet in it and I can smell it, but if it's done right then it can add something quite interesting to a fragrance. So this opens with a lot of that, and I do find it kind of slightly unpleasant. It almost smells like a chypre, this fragrance. It's got that real classic kind of green spicy feel to it, but it smells quite dirty. Civet can kind of smell like BO and bad breath, I think, and this kind of smells a little bit indolic as well, a little bit like piss or urine, call it what you want. Yeah, it does open with that, but it has straight away a kind of very orangey smoothness to it, so it's kind of a clashing set of smells that are hitting your nose straight away, but it's not something that I immediately think, oh, that's really nice, I want to smell like that. But I have obviously given it time to develop and kind of unfold, and I'm glad I did, because it does turn a bit nicer. The civet kind of always is there. It always keeps that, it gives it that something that civet does to a fragrance that I really can't describe. But what this kind of mainly smells like, it smells a little bit festive to me. It smells like Christmassy. It's like a spicy orange pie, but it's not on the gourmand kind of spectrum of things. It's spicy and orangey and sweet as well, but it's not pumpkin pie or, you know, candle smelling. It's kind of lightly spiced. It's a little bit floral. I don't think rose really features to me. Carnation is a gorgeous flower. It's a very spicy flower. It does give the impression of, sometimes I think, kind of clovey, earthy, floral, spicy, and I think that kind of adds to this cinnamony orange animalic feel, and I like that. I mean, I know I'm not blown away by it. It doesn't make me feel any kind of emotion. I don't think, oh my god, this is amazing, I want to wear it. But it's kind of interesting. It has a really, really sweet undertone, and I don't know where it comes from, because there's not anything in it that is immediately sweet or that jumps out as sweet. You know, it's got 2 citruses in the top, and then you've got spices and a delicate flower in the heart, and then you've got sandalwood, patchouli and civet in the bottom. So sandalwood, I don't know, sandalwood's very light and exotic to me, in this particularly, and I think, yeah, it adds to it. Patchouli's given it a little bit of oomph and a little bit of depth, but it's mainly about the spices and the orange. And what I'll say about the orange is, this is probably the first fragrance I've ever smelled where there's not necessarily a citrus fragrance, where the citrus part of it, being the blood orange and orange, stay all the way through to the dry down. It's very, very unusual, I find, and what I find bizarre about it is it's really, really dry here. What you get left with is a very kind of it's blood orangey and orange, but it's like all of the oomph has been taken out of the orange. It's kind of like you're left with a very watery kind of just trails of what orange used to be. So it's like if you squidged an entire orange out and then you left the, you know, the pith and stuff to just dry on the side, and you smelt it, and it's a very faint weak orange, but it stays there above everything else, which I find really bizarre. It's like old orange. It's very weird. Slightly woodsy or woody, but yeah, the spices go. There's no flowers in it anymore. It becomes, it's like there's not enough heart or base in it anymore. I get that it's, you know, it's kind of themed maybe around oranges, but yeah, it's like a glass of orange juice left out too long, basically. It's cool here. It does go through some nice stages. It does go through some spiciness, lightly spiced, and sweetness. But here, civet gone, any carnation, any kind of flower. There's not even any sandalwood really that I can smell. And sandalwood, you know, is a deep note. It does last for a long time usually. But no, the dry down is very, very disappointing. So this is not something I would probably ever buy. I've never really heard of them anyway, but you know, if you're a fan watching this and you might want to buy one of their fragrances, her fragrances, I don't know, have a think really. I'm going to spray it back on this hand. I'm going to just get the last few wearings out of it. Yeah, it's really good. I've just sprayed that again, and you know, it even feels like in the opening there's something slightly like licorice, but it's just overtaken by that civet that just smells like animal arse, basically. So anyway, that's my review of Maharanih by Parfums De Nicolai, or Parfums De Nicolai. I will see you guys soon for another review, and as always, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. I feel like a broken record. Good night.